Hey humans, just want to talk about exercise today because it's super powerful, and for me it's obviously easy now because I used to play high level tennis, so like this was just kind of ingrained into me that exercise is just valuable. It's helpful to growth, it's helpful to just how you feel. It's just starting out your day being stronger. um, this comes easy to me because it was almost like conditioned and programmed into me. But I know that many other people who aren't like play sports or um, do physical stuff so much, they're not ingrained in this. And the valuable thing about learning a sport at a high level is that you just have to daily do certain things to improve. And there's no like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. If you want to be good at a certain sport, you got to put in the effort, and it's tough, and you don't want to do it. A lot of the times you want to skip it, but as you grow and learn, you start seeing, oh, okay, I see these patterns that the mind constantly puts into me, and it doesn't want to do things. It's like a good example for this is like brushing your teeth. Do you want to do it every day? Probably not. There's many days you want to skip, and maybe you do skip. Um, but you know the cost of it, right? Like you know that if you don't brush your teeth are gonna start falling out, right? So that's a big cost. Like, and just you're gonna have cavities, and you're gonna have to go to a dentist. So there's a big thing associated with it, right? But with exercise, it's not that obvious to you, right? You don't do it because maybe you've never done it, maybe you don't know where to start, um, maybe you're intimidated, things like that, right? So you don't, and like if you don't do it, you don't see like the cost associated with it. But there is a big cost because if you see most elderly people, they're all like broken up. And even not elderly people, even people like their 50s, 60s. So most people can't even walk. And of course, there are all sorts of issues. It's not always just not exercising or strengthening the body, but a lot of the times it is. Like most people are very lazy. And you have to admit that for your own self, that you're probably lazy. And you have to just start somewhere. If you value your body and you want to go past limitations and you want to extend your ability to walk and be not be in pain for most of your adult life, then you got to work on this thing. Because okay, you live in this body and you walk and you pick up stuff, you type, whatever you do with your body. But what the hell do you do to take care of it? Probably not too much. And it's kind of sad because you have this thing and you're just kind of taking it for granted. You think it's just there and doesn't need any maintenance, right? Even if your car, for instance, you still have to take it to get an oil change once in a while, right? So, how about you? What do you do for yourself, your body? Do you stretch or do you exercise? Do you do anything? So, that's one aspect. Then there's also a second thing that it'll help you to do is that exercise and using the body in certain ways, especially like what I found through yoga, uh, you do certain postures, and those allow you to go past your limitations. So, like, even doing a stretch, taking a certain posture and doing it daily, you start noticing that you improve, you go past your boundary. Whatever you were in the beginning, you don't stay there, you go further. And like if you do it for a month, a year, 2 years, 4 years, you start noticing, oh shit, Even though it's a slow change, you start noticing that you go past your barriers. And this is the beneficial of using your body, doing exercise, because with the mind, it's hard. The mind is slippery, it's complicated, it's always tricking you. It's hard to get to like some point where you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm reprogramming myself, but it's more complicated. With the body, you can see it almost like directly, and that will help you to change your mind as well. If you use your body, if you strengthen it, if you just are able to lift yourself, able to uh, pull yourself up, um, do certain postures that strengthen you. Because in yoga, you always kind of try to push upwards because you're always being pushed down with gravity, right? So you need to push against it, and that takes some strength. And doing that allows you to expand and just open yourself up, and it feels amazing. It really does. Like if you actually stick with a routine, eventually you start noticing, oh shit, I've gone this far. It's quite cool. And then that allows you to then be like, oh, there's other boundaries I'm stuck in. Whether it's mind boundaries, other physical boundaries, that you stay in this like baseline. Wherever you are, you just stay there because you don't know what's outside the boundary. It's always like that, right? You always do things in your comfort zone, um, because that's your comfort zone. You're used to it, you live in there. But when you get pushed outside of that, it's uncomfortable at first, obviously, and it's going to be tough. If you've never exercised, never done anything, of course it's going to be challenging. You're going to be like kind of weak, and um, you're just like your physical strength isn't going to be there because you've never been pushing. um, so so you just have to start slow. It's not like you have to get from 0 to 100 instantly. No, you do it daily, like 5 minutes. If you're brand new, even 5 minutes, even just doing one exercise is fine. And that's what you have to kind of like start conditioning yourself to see, oh, okay, I'm just gonna do maybe squats or something, and then I'm gonna work up to it. And then eventually you might get to 30 minutes, maybe an hour a day, whatever you can give. But it's this kind of stuff that you have to like, what is valuable to me in my life? And the body, is it not valuable to you? You are in it at the moment, so don't you want to preserve it as long as possible, and just feel good and strong strength? Like physical strength also gives you the ability to have confidence, because when you start like lifting yourself up certain postures, like, oh shit, I'm like pretty strong, like I can do things, I can, I'm worthy. Things like that just come with it. But most people, they don't want to do it because it's too hard to start a lot of the times, and they might be confused where to do it. They might not have space, all sorts of excuses. But I mean, this is just like anything. You gotta schedule it in. Do you go to work? Yeah, you do, right? That's a must. So why do you brush your teeth? That's a must. What else is a must? Well, add exercise as a must, because it'll change your life, especially if you've never done it, if you've never played sports or done any, I don't know, intensity. Like, it's when you go through intense training, even if it's for 5 minutes, just get your heart rate up. It feels freaking amazing. And it's hard to start, but just got to do it. Trust me. But yeah, try that out. If you don't exercise, add something daily, not like once a week. Like add it something daily for 5 minutes. And just stick to it. Become disciplined. Okay? Try it out. Let me know how it goes. Just check out my website, BeHumanNotAZombie.com, and pick up my book if you haven't. It's on Amazon. Be Human, Not a Zombie. All right? Peace.